who really runs the White House. You heard Tulsi Gabbard say it can't be Joe Biden, can it?
Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama are not in office right now, but they still continue to wield immense power in influencing the decisions that are being made.
Tucker Carlson has been really shaking up the internet recently with a lot of his takes. And in this video, we have Russell Brand talking about something that Tucker Carlson recently said on a podcast that really stunned Russell Brand, and it really stunned a lot of people, including Tulsi Gabbard, which was Tucker Carlson's guest on this podcast. But in this podcast episode, Tucker Carlson reveals who really runs America, and Russell Brand just gets absolutely stunned at what Tucker Carlson and Tulsi Gabbard had to say. Let's check this out.
Amplify the flaws of Donald Trump on an almost daily basis. He did this, he said that, he's in this court case, he committed this offense. Donald Trump is so continually vilified, you have to work hard mentally to try to have your own opinion on that subject. Here's a good control group, though, if you're trying to understand establishment mentality to external or even internal challenges. Look at how they're beginning to talk about Bobby Kennedy now that he's regarded as a real threat and a potential stealer, because they see them as their votes, of Democrat Party votes. Even Cornel West, the Green Party. Anybody who poses a threat to the Democratic establishment will now potentially be targeted by the Democrats' army of lawyers, and the legacy media attack dogs have already begun to take down anybody who could prevent Joe Biden having his presumed second term.
And it's crazy because what Russell Brand is saying here is completely correct. And yet still, The View, Whoopi Goldberg, Bill Maher, all these other places, and obviously the U.S. current regime that's Joe Biden, all of his regime and the whole government is trying to take Donald Trump out of this race. And they're saying that, if Donald Trump wins, bad things are going to happen. He's promising violence if Donald Trump loses as well. All these things, like they're trying to paint him out to be this bad guy. And Joe Biden and, all of the people who are under him are literally using the DOJ against Donald Trump right now, against his political opponents for simply being his political opponent. Joe Biden embodies exactly what he is warning people that Donald Trump is. Joe Biden is actually those things and doing those things currently.
Throughout the independent media space are asking who really runs the White House. You heard Tulsi Gabbard say it can't be Joe Biden, can it?
Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama are not in office right now, but they still continue to wield immense power in influencing the decisions that are being made.
So can I just sort of sidebar, but I think relevant, interesting. Are you answering the question that everyone watching has, which is who is running the government at this point? It's obviously not Joe Biden. Yeah. You think Hillary Clinton?
It's not a leap of imagination to know that that's true when you look at the people who are in Joe Biden's administration. They are the people who were the right hands for the Obama administration, for President Obama, and for Hillary Clinton.
Well, we do know one thing for sure. I don't know if 100% for a fact that what Tucker Carlson and Tulsi Gabbard are saying that Russell Brand is bringing attention to here. I don't know if this is true, that these people who they're claiming run the government, run the country, are actually running the country. But we do know it's not Joe Biden. We know that for damn sure. He is not capable of running the country. And it's still insane to me that people like The View, like Bill Maher, and streamers like Destiny, and there's so many people out there who have large followings and people with no followings who just are living their everyday lives who defend Joe Biden and want him to be reelected. Like Mark Hamill just went to the White House and gave a speech. Like he's just a complete shill for the Biden administration. And I don't know if they're just so far deep into TDS that they're literally promoting a senile man to get reelected and doing it so passionately, or if they really believe that they're like on the right side of history. I don't know what it is. I don't know what their motivation is for being like that and for defending someone who's not capable of running the country. He's not. Let's get back to what Tulsi Gabbard, Tucker Carlson, and Russell Brand have to say here.
Hillary Clinton said herself the other day, she said, "Oh yeah, I talk to the White House every day." So it is no shock or surprise who the influences are behind the policies that are coming out of this White House that many people say is the most radical and woke White House that our country has ever seen.
Oh, well, there's no question about it. So, but as this was happening to you, I mean, I'm sure you didn't want to go to the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Good for you. Tiresome. But on the other hand, it is a lot easier and much more pleasant to be loved than it is to be hated. I think it's just true. And so as you became like really hated by the leadership of the Democratic Party, and they weren't hiding it at all.
No.
Did you ever think like maybe it's just easier to kind of pretend bombing Syria is a good idea? Did you ever question your decision to say no?
No. I knew that would be true. I knew that there was certainly an easier path to take.
Yeah, you think?
It was kind of laid out.
You notice how it's always the people who get shunned and excommunicated from that group of people. They're always the ones that are calling for peace and less violence. You ever notice that? How it's never the people who are calling for more war that get excommunicated from that group of people. It's always the ones that are saying, no, we should stop sending our tax dollars to fund bloodbaths in, countries that have nothing to do with the United States. Oh, we should stop manufacturing, doing things that are going to cause us to have to manufacture more weapons. That's the people who get excommunicated and shunned from that group of people. Let's get back to what Russell Brand had to say about this whole thing.
Anyone but Biden, and we'll show you exactly why they're scared of Bobby Kennedy, what it is he says that has them so terrified. First of all, we'll look at Jen Psaki, former White House press secretary, now MSNBC talk show host, and note how with constrained hysteria she attacks Bobby Kennedy, assumes that Bobby Kennedy would be bad for America, assumes that the only plausible, possible, beneficial outcome is a victory for the Democratic Party, never seeming to reflect for even a moment that this could be misguided. What has democracy become if you have to work this hard to prevent people contemplating and considering anyone other than a candidate who seems to be edging us closer?
If you enjoy content like this, make sure you subscribe and turn on the notification bell. It really does help me out a ton. Let's get back to the video.
Closer to Armageddon on several fronts.
These third-party candidates are a huge, huge, huge problem, and there's a number of them.
Shouldn't be regarded as a problem in a democracy, should it? Variety in consumerism is regarded as a good thing. Oh, look at all these different breakfast cereals. In politics, you can have this little old man. That's it.
If you look at RFK Jr., it's the name recognition issue, as Tom was just talking about.
That's all it is. He's got the name Kennedy. It's not that people are disillusioned, disenchanted, that trust in every single institution is beginning to break down. The deep state, the government itself, the legacy media, big pharma, the judiciary, the constant warmongering. It's just that this person happens to be called Kennedy. It's not that Bobby Kennedy wants a full reckoning for the pharmaceutical industry, is called out.
Well, dude, they probably don't even know anything that RFK actually stands for. Like, if they did, they would probably like him a lot, because he kind of stands for like the hot button issues that are going on right now. Obviously, I don't really know his foreign policy stance, but in regards to what's happening within the United States, I mean, RFK is not really conservative at all. Like, he's a lot more on Joe Biden's side than people think. The only reason why they don't like him is what he wants to do with the pharmaceutical industry. But if they knew his stance on like pro-life or pro-choice, they would like him a lot. The left would like him a lot because he's more pro-choice. If they knew his stance on guns, which he recently made a weird Twitter post about, I won't take your guns. We all know that he likes gun control, that he wants more gun control. So the left would like that a lot. If they actually knew what RFK stood for, then they would like him a lot. But they don't care about any of that. They just care about the identity politics of the whole thing. Like, what does the face say? Like Donald Trump's face, oh, we don't like him. Joe Biden's face, we have no idea what he stands for because he can't possibly stand for anything. He can't formulate a sentence, much less stand for anything that's principles or morals or anything like that. But no, they just like his face because they're supposed to. RFK, they just dislike his face and everything he stands for, even though they don't even know what that is. Because why? They're supposed to. That's it. That's all they know.
Corruption and bureaucracy within the health regulatory bodies that were supposed to be protecting and helping American people in a massive healthcare crisis over the last few years is not his willingness to talk out against the war machine. I know our audience, so I know a lot of you are very pro-Trump. I know basically all of you hate the establishment. I know loads of you will have questions about Bobby Kennedy, particularly if his running mate is to be someone that has former affiliations with an organization as large as Google and Alphabet, even if it's only through marriage. But there's no question that to the establishment, Bobby Kennedy is being regarded and literally here described as a threat. And note that they are unwilling to talk about what he stands for and what his manifesto is.
And there are still states in this country, obviously, I mean, Georgia is one of them, I will name, where the Kennedy name is beloved, right? Where people may just not where they may just not know a lot about the fact that he is an anti-vaxxer who's a conspiracy theorist. They don't know that yet.
That's all they know. That's literally it. He went on Joe Rogan's podcast. I almost said Joe Biden's podcast. Imagine that. That would be an absolute disaster if Joe Biden had a podcast. I don't know why. That's like the funniest thing I thought of today. But they only know that RFK went on Joe Rogan's podcast and said that the pharmaceutical industry needs to be redone. Like it needs to be, uprooted and looked at. Severely needs that. And they don't like that, and now that's all they know about him. They don't know that if they actually looked into his other stances on things, they would like him quite a bit. But anyway, let me know in the comments what you're thinking about Russell Brand and what Russell Brand thought about Tucker Carlson and Tulsi Gabbard revealing who really runs America. Do you think that they're right? Do you agree with Tucker and Tulsi Gabbard on who really runs America? Do you think that that's 100% true? Let me know in the comments what you're thinking about this whole Russell Brand, Tucker Carlson, Tulsi Gabbard situation.